Welcome to another episode of the Jobology podcast. I'm your host, Brandon, and today my guest is content creator, singer-songwriter, Courtney Govan. She's going to talk to us about being on a TV show, releasing music, and what happens when a song goes viral. So without further ado, Courtney. First, I just want to say thank you for being with me today, Courtney.
Thanks for having me. I'm super stoked.
I love doing in person, so it's nice to have somebody in the studio today.
It is nice to stare at your eyeballs.
Yeah, instead of more screen time that I don't necessarily want to, if you watched last episode, hurt my eyes with, so check that out.
Now I gotta go watch it.
Yeah, see. And then the first question I always like to start out with, so we can kind of get like a baseline of who you are, what you do is, what if I were to meet you on the street and I said, hey, what do you do for a living? How would you describe that versus like, what's your official job title?
Okay.
Title.
Well, I'd say, hi, I'm Courtney.
Yeah.
My friends call me Court.
Okay.
I'd say I write music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it's kind of like I make stuff online. That's kind of like my go-to.
Sure.
At a bar, someone asks me what I do. I make stuff online. I make music.
Creator.
But like my official like header on my website, I say content creator, singer-songwriter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Why? Like, is this something that you've always been interested in? That you're like, man, I've been singing since I was a kid, or is this something that you just found later in life?
So I've been singing forever. Like,
okay.
I kind of feel like you have a whole group of human beings who are like, they have the same answer. Like, I've been singing since before I remember singing. My mom kind of always tells me the stories of like, I'd be at like a mall and I'd hear a song playing and I'd embarrass the crap out of my sister and just start belting and stand on chairs and like all that stuff. I don't remember that. That couldn't be me. Couldn't be her. She has class now.
Yes.
But like, it's kind of just always something I've associated with me. And then as I got older, the most obvious way to make that happen was by posting on the internet.
Okay.
So I started posting on YouTube when I was like 9. And my parents had very strict rules.
Yeah.
I like couldn't show my face. I couldn't have my last name on the internet.
So like lyric videos or something
pretty
like
much that. Honestly, I wish I was that cool to do lyric videos.
Sure.
I'd get like a little Coolplex camera and I'd put it in front of my computer and I would write what I was singing on a Microsoft like Word art document.
Okay.
And then I would sing behind the camera. So I'd be like, hey guys, it's Courtney. I'm going to sing Demi Lovato now. And I'd be like, did you forget? It was so embarrassing. I can't find them.
I was going to,
I know.
That was going to be my ass.
Yeah,
got to be somewhere.
I've told this story a couple times and every time I end with, I can't find them. But I have the memory, so I like trying to keep them alive.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would just like post on the internet and I kind of never stopped.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I got here.
And then when you like make that decision to like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, focus all my energy into being singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Is there like a logistical, like how that happens? Like, do you have to reach out to somebody and like get like a manager, an agent? I have no idea.
I'm still trying to answer those questions for myself, but I think I do have a little bit of a kind of an answer for you, I guess. I think there's a reason it's so interesting to hear about like how someone's career started, especially in music, because I feel like they're all different. Like every single person I know who is either still, because I consider myself still striving to stay in the industry.
Gotcha.
That's kind of like where my mindset is.
Like aspiring.
I mean, like I feel like I'm just a little bit past that cusp of aspiring because like I'm doing, but it's like to have longevity in the career, I don't have that answer for you yet. But I think it's really interesting because so many people are like, oh, well, I knew this person, or I posted this video, or I was singing on the street and this one person saw me and they knew.
Or somebody like walks by and is like, here's it, and it happens to be a music executive, and they're like, come, sure.
I feel like a lot of the times you hear like, oh, someone approached me and my career started, you know? But I think for a lot of people, that's very different. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Those are the few and far between.
Yeah, and I think it's, like, also, like, we'll get more into this maybe later, but, like, I feel like there's also this huge separation of, like, what is success in your career from, like, being, what's from notoriety? Like, what's success in your career from notoriety? And what's success in your career based on financial compensation? So it's, like, in my industry, I feel like you really have to look at the like who you're reaching and the people you're touching and affecting their lives, because you don't go into music to make money. You really don't.
That's kind of the podcast.
Yeah, that's kind of the podcast.
I mean, if it comes and eventually happens, great.
Then
but
yay!
Sure, yeah.
But that touches on the longevity I was talking about.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's like why I do this is I just enjoy talking to people and learning stuff.
So to try and roundabout to the beginning of the question is like, I do this because it's like it felt right.
Yeah.
And it's what I want to do. And it's like what feels like I don't have to try hard to do it, but I have to try hard to keep it going.
Oh, yeah. But it just comes naturally.
Yeah.
But so that part,
the essence just brings me joy, and that's what I want to keep forever.
Okay.
So,
interesting. Yeah. And then your specific path, is it, you kind of touched on it there a little bit, but it's more just like, hey, I just create, I write a song, I put it out there, and I wait for a reception, or like, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of back end stuff. I don't know. I could talk for forever about it, so I don't know if we want to.
If you want to touch on whatever you want.
I think that a lot of like, okay, I think this relates more to like the ins and outs of posting and like how do you know what to post and when to post and like how do you
educate me, please.
I'm trying myself too, but I always tell people it's consistency. It's like 9 times out of 10 every person I know, it's not that their content is quote unquote bad.
Right.
It's not, it's just like we're dealing with really low retention spans and like think about how we intake art and we intake music. Like for every 100 songs that gets requested to me or recommended to me, I listen to 2.
Right.
But what about those other 98?
Yeah, there could have been a hidden gem in there somewhere.
Exactly, but you have to think of content the same way. So I just try to do my best to put in place like things to create like a community that are outside of like go stream my music, subscribe to me, follow me, like that plea that like like the whole point is like I would love if someone hit the follow button and wanted to stay interested in like in a part of my journey. But like at the end of the day I might only get 30 seconds to touch someone's life.
Sure.
So I post as if it's the first time someone's going to see me every single time.
Okay.
So it's like sometimes my caption will be like, hey, I'm going to reintroduce myself and like tell everyone how old I am, where I'm from, or else that's all the comments I get. How old are you? Where are you from? Like, how long have you been doing this? So, and I also do like, these things, they're called pre-save links. And like a lot of indie artists will do pre-save campaigns.
Sure.
So they're normally powered through your distributor. Okay. So a distributor is like who you submit your music to, who will put it to all of the different possible streaming platforms.
Gotcha. So
you have one little place that's like, okay, I'm uploading this song. And they're like, okay, we're going to give it to Apple, Spotify, Deezer, Discord, all this stuff, whatever.
Gotcha. It kind of leads me into my next bit that I wanted to talk about, which is like, what does an average day for you look like? So we kind of, talked about posting and maybe whatever, but is it like, hey, I wake up and I start writing? Is it I look for inspiration and then start writing? Like, what is your average day as a singer-songwriter kind of entail?
Writing for me, like you'd think I'm writing every 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Writing for me is like, it comes to me.
Okay.
So like sometimes like I mean I have writer's block. A lot of people, I mean if you're an author, if you're in like anything literary and you have to create your own words and you're not using ChatGPT, it takes a minute, especially if like sometimes I'll have moments where I'm like, what do I even want to say? Because I don't want to just write and not have a purpose behind it. But I'm also learning that like sometimes I can just sit down and write something and be like, oh, that was not good, but that's okay. I kind of liked this, and that'll fuel me in the next couple days. But
or like you write something and then you're like, oh, that hook is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Sometimes is good, and then, sometimes a lot of my process is copy and pasting. Like I'll have written 2 or 3 things and I'm like, I kind of like this melody or this or that, and I'm like, ooh, but what about this melody with this one? And then I'll put them together, and then sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna completely rewrite the lyrics and the whole purpose of the song now.
Gotcha.
So I think for me, like, I wake up in the morning, I like to call it, because I work from home, so I'm always in my house. So I like to call it like my opening shift and my closing shift. Sure. So I'll wake up, I feed my dog, I open up all the blinds, I bring light into my house, I make sure to feed myself, and like, because sometimes I can just wake up and jump straight into work, and I'm like, that's not healthy. No. But I always try to post something. I don't post every day anymore. I used to. But I think that ebbs and flows with like algorithm expectations of like what's working for you, So for me right now, every 2 to 3 days is kind of my sweet spot.
Okay. Sweet. Good to know.
Yeah. So I'll post every 2 to 3 days, but I'll edit every day so that I never feel like I'm like Oh, I don't have
rushing
anything to
get
post.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely a procrastinator,
Me too.
especially when I'm my own boss.
Yeah. Oh.
So it's like
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
tough. I
easy to
understand
blow
that.
yourself off, you know?
Sure.
You're like, "Oh, I could do that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that next week." And then, "Oh, you never did it."
Yeah. Or I like to go like, I'll do it in an hour, or I'll do it in 2. Okay.
Yep.
Well, if I didn't do it, I'll do it in like the next hour.
Yep.
I
And
didn't
then
get
before
to it.
I know it, I've
Sure.
been watching Young Sheldon
Yeah.
for like 2 hours. And I'm like, Courtney. So I
Sure,
try to
sure.
wake up and I'll try to edit something. I edit on my phone. So
Okay.
I'm literally just sitting on my phone on the couch. I normally start my mornings by going to the gym. Like
Okay.
that's like my every morning.
Yeah.
I'm not, I try to do every single day, but sometimes I wake up and I'm like, nope.
Not today.
Me and one of my best friends, you know her, Ada.
Shout out.
Shout out to Ada. We go to the gym at like 5:40 in the morning. We try to.
My little eyes are still nice and closed.
That's been a little
5:40.
challenging the
gonna
last
say,
couple
nah.
of days, weeks. But the days that we do go that early consistently are some of my favorite days
Yeah.
because I'll normally do the gym, come home, shower, get dressed, and then I walk to a parking garage that's
Okay.
close to my house, and I'll film
Something.
like 20 covers
Oh shoot. Okay.
in one day.
Dang. All right.
It's just like I'll have it all planned out.
Do you bring
Yeah.
with that? Do you bring like a change of outfit so that it's like mix it? You know what I
I
mean?
don't really
so
care
don't
if
know.
people
Okay,
know.
cool.
You know what I
Perfect,
mean?
perfect.
Like
Yeah,
every
yeah,
once in a while, I'll be like, I'll bring a sweater, and
Or
I'll
I'll
have the
cha-
sweater
yeah.
on for some, off for some.
Yeah.
But like,
so then it's like
I
it
don't
gives
really-
that
yeah.
illusion that it's multiple days.
yeah, I don't really
Yeah.
care if people know. Like,
Sure.
oh no, these are all at one time. Like, I don't
I don't think people really care about.
I don't
that
really
either.
think. Yeah, I mean, like,
They're coming for the content.
I think at the end of the day, that's like the least interesting thing
Yeah.
about my content. When was it filmed?
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
True,
so,
true.
but I've had a lot of fun. Like I'm close enough that I walk. I call it my office.
Okay, nice.
And no one's ever there because it's
Oh,
a
that's
super industrial. Like it's like I'm not gonna say where it is, but it's
Sure,
like
sure, sure.
there's not a lot of people there in the mornings. It's more an afternoon and night heavy place.
Gotcha.
So I'm like there early.
Yeah.
It's not by houses, so
not too
people aren't. I'm
loud.
not like waking people up. Like I'm
Yeah.
like it's my sweet spot.
Okay.
And then I go home, I edit all of them,
Sweet.
and then I'm done for the
Nice.
day. And like a lot of my job is spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'll have days where it's like I'll see a video that someone posted and I decide to duet it, add harmonies to it, or
Okay.
I'll find a
Is that just like feel when you're like on TikTok or on something? Is that like, you come across something and you're like, or are you looking for something specific
No.
that you're like, oh, that's what I need?
No,
or is it just
I'll
like
just
I
that's
feel like this is the one
I call
need
it my general audience moments.
Okay.
Like it's when I'm done with working and then I go and I scroll because
Okay.
like I love the internet.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like who doesn't?
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling and I'll find something and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna duet that, or oh, I want to share that, or oh, I want to work with this person,
Okay.
and like I'll just make connections and I'll reach out to people.
Yeah.
And then my parents live close by, so a lot of the times I'll just like, okay, I'm done for the day, and I'll just like go hang out with my family
Nice.
and just like
Chill.
de-stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a show, is there
Yeah.
a different like prep, like a
Yeah.
prep you do? Okay.
So if I've been doing a lot of shows with a concert touring group called So Far Sounds.
Okay.
They're lovely. They're
Nice.
like their whole focus is to have people come and sit and listen.
Yeah.
Like it's not talking through sets. Like it's not like bar singing, which
Sure.
is kind of the most common. I think that people can book.
Like relate to, yeah.
Yeah. So with So Far, I hadn't performed in San Diego yet. I was being a little picky.
Sure.
Because I was like, I don't want to be playing to a room full of people talking over me.
Right.
I really want, like, if I'm gonna perform,
Yeah.
I
You want people to come
I
for
give
the
a
show.
lot of myself
Yeah.
when I perform, and I don't want to like be like, oh, they hated it,
Right. Or
I-
like where the music is secondary.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
hey, I'm going to the bar to have a drink
And
with
there's
my friends
nothing wrong
and
with
somebody's
that.
playing music
yeah,
in the background.
there is
Great.
nothing wrong
But-
with being like the energy of the night,
Right,
you
right,
know.
right.
But like I'm kind of in this like era of like I'm in my singer-songwriter vibes right now. I'm like I have stories to tell, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think I'd go play my like ballads at a club.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
I
Like it
getcha.
just it didn't hit. So when I found So Far, I started having a routine because I do like 2 to 3 shows with them a month now.
Okay.
And I don't drink
Okay.
for 3 days.
Okay. That's good to
Before
know.
I
Interesting.
barely like talk.
Yeah, try and like keep the
yeah,
voice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have like very set rules. I can't drink dairy.
Okay.
There's like
Interesting.
there's like vocal health things that you know not to do as a singer.
Yeah.
If you've had like any ounce of training.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't have my coffee. I can't have my seltzer.
Oh, man.
Like Yeah.
I couldn't do the coffee
It's
one.
rough.
I could do the no drinking, but the coffee
Yeah,
thing,
the no drinking's honestly the easiest one. It's the coffee that's the roughest.
That would be tough.
Because I wake up and I'm like, I also just realized in this moment I haven't had coffee. So I'm like, okay. I'll get one after. But anyway, yeah, I think it's more so like I'm a little bit more gentle with myself. I'm like, hey, like sometimes I'll have to do little mental check-ins too. Like I think the hardest thing for me is like some days I wake up and I have a show and I don't really feel like being observed today.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, sorry.
Tough luck, chick. It's happening.
Deal with it. Yeah. I have like the duality in my head where it's like, I just don't want people to look at me today. And it's like, sorry, babe. Yep. You did this to yourself.
Get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
too bad. Okay.
I guess that's like the main thing that shifts. So like I don't normally film content on those days.
Right. It's
like
just more focused.
My parents tend to come to my shows if they can make it. And so my dad will film my whole set. And I'm like, that's my content for a couple days.
Right.
So I think it's just like there's a lot of structure in the unstructured when it comes to my job.
Ooh, interesting.
So it's like I know there's certain things that I want to accomplish, but I might wake up on Monday and not know that how it's going to get accomplished on Friday, but like it's going to happen. Yeah, so like I have that show, I have a couple videos, or I ended up liking the way that sounded, so let me post that.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of just trying new things, but also like maintaining some kind of structure if that's how you work. Yeah. I love my routines. I'm a Capricorn. I need them. I just flail about and procrastinate if I don't have them. So
I get that vibe for sure. So a question that I actually had saved for later, but it kind of fits in here better is when you're in your daily like routine or whatever, and maybe it's you decided, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna try and like write a new song or come up with something. Do you find that it's easier to write from a place of like happiness, sadness, a certain feeling? Like, is there where lyrics just flow out a little bit better?
I think it depends on like where I am mentally. You know what I mean? The last couple songs I've written have been about like a pretty darker period of my life. So like I wouldn't necessarily say it's easier to write about
pain.
Pain or sadness, but I think a lot of the times our happy moments are talked about and our sad ones are kept inside.
Okay.
So I think the appeal to writing about like our pain is that like we might be saying someone's quiet parts out loud, whereas like when you're happy, you kind of want the whole world to know you're happy. Yeah. So I think happy music like makes the world go round. Like I need it. Right. Like one of my best songs that I've ever written is called Serotonin, and it's
got a question about that later too.
Yeah, it's like this. It's this happy song that I like doing little sprinkles of like, hey, you're struggling, but it's okay. Right. I think happiness and sadness can coincide. Okay. So it's like a lot of my music I try to meld them together, whether it's like a really sad song that has like musically optimistic chords, or if it's like a really, really happy song, but I also go, hey, sadness can exist amidst happiness. So I try to sprinkle a little bit of like that, hey, my brain's not doing so great, but like that's okay, I'm acknowledging it and I can still go find joy. So I try to find a little meld. But I wouldn't say one's easier than the other.
Maybe easier is not the right word.
No, it's okay. I think that writing about sad music or writing sad music or about moments of pain can have a bit more like of a cathartic element than writing about happiness. But I find that when I write about happiness and then I listen to that later, I feel more than when I listen to my sadness. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes,
like,
yes.
The writing process for sad music heals me a little bit more. But the listening to my happier music
puts you better in that.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll blast. I hate listening to myself sing too much. I'm surrounded by it 24/7. Love her, but it's a lot sometimes. But I'll listen to my happier music more than I listen to my sad music.
Okay, that makes sense. And I mean, now that I'm like, as you're kind of describing that and you're saying like, happy chords, I'm like, oh yeah, wait. Like the melody too, if you get a melody that you're like, oh, this is dark, then you're not gonna write, hey, it's sunshine and rainbows and butterflies.
You just reminded me of my favorite example. So it's like before I started writing or like at least giving my music to people, I loved taking like really, really popular pop songs and I would strip them down and be like, do you guys realize how depressing this is? And we're drinking to it. And it's like, I think of that one song, I think it's by Alessia Cara, it's called Stay. It's like, all you have to do is stay a minute, just take your time.
I know that one.
But if you're like, all you have to do is stay.
Oh, yeah.
A minute.
Yeah, it depends how you...
Just take your time.
Yeah, now that's sad.
Like, it's sad.
Now that's sad.
Right? But
Yeah,
it's all
like,
about
just
it's all about how it's
melody.
presented
Sure.
to you.
Okay.
It's like, hey, you can stay. It can be flirty. It can be fun. But it's like, hey, what if it's longing and begging? Can you just stay? Like, you can take your time.
Oh, man.
So yeah, it's all subjective, my love.
Sure.
Like, all music is
Interesting.
subjective.
That's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Because I wouldn't have thought... I think I'm more of the, like, oh, this is how they gave it to me. That's how I'm going to take it.
Right.
As opposed to,
which
like,
I love.
actually thinking about...
There's this
Sure.
to get a little nerdy for 5
Yeah,
seconds.
let's do it.
There's this concept that I learned. I studied theater. I'm not the biggest theater girly in the world, but I did take a lot away from like my what's the word? Like analytical studies of theater, like analyzing text and stuff like that. And there's this concept called the death of an author.
Okay.
And it's like when you write something and you give it away to the world, your intentions behind that piece die with you.
Yep. It's no longer
You
yours.
now created this subjective thing that people can interpret and do whatever the heck they want to with it.
Right.
And like my music will always have a purpose because I wrote it that way. But like someone can use any of my music and be like, I relate to it because of X, Y, and Z. I'd be like, well, I've never been through that, but that's cool.
Yeah, it works
great.
for me. Yeah.
Happy you
Or it
saw
depends,
that.
like the mental state you're in when you hear it for the first time. Because
Exactly.
maybe I hear something that you meant to be like this uplifting thing, but I'm in a down spot, so I
just
hear it as
knife.
down. Yeah.
I totally get that.
Okay, interesting.
It's one of my favorite concepts.
Interesting.
Whenever I'm like, no, they're not getting it. I'm like, girly,
Yeah.
it's over. Like, it's okay. You gave it away.
Yeah, and then back to kind of bringing this back to, as an actual like job and some things that like jobs entail.
Yes.
Do you have like benefits, perks? Like, are you just out here living like, hey
Pretty
man,
much
I'm
that.
just hopefully I don't get hurt. Fingers crossed.
Well, my mom works at a CPA firm,
Gotcha.
so like I'm surrounded by people that I feel like I've gotten a lot
the
of really
knowledge.
positive insight.
Yeah.
So I ended up purchasing like private insurance and like honestly, like no shame, I'm being helped with the Affordable Care Act.
Me
Like
too, baby.
I'm a single family home. Like there's a lot of perks in just being me.
Yeah.
So I have like my publishing is called Serotonin Studios.
Yeah.
So I'm working on forming Serotonin Studios LLC,
Okay.
which is where eventually all of my like business purchasing and payouts for myself will go through that, so it can be a little less like self-employed and more this is an actual organization.
Gotcha.
But that takes time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm in no rush. I'm trying
totally.
to figure stuff out one step at a time.
I totally get that. And then like as an artist, do you have like a job hierarchy? Like is there like do you have like a boss about, we kind of talked about being our own bosses and like, having to self-motivate a little bit there, but
right now my boss is me.
Okay.
And I'm a pretty tough boss to work for,
Sure.
but I also give myself a lot of leniency.
Okay.
I think
Can relate.
I don't know, it's like kind of this age-old question of like, do I go and like shoot for a label? Do I shoot for wanting to, have that above me?
Yeah.
Or do I continue
Doing your own thing.
doing my own thing and although I might not see anything and possibilities right in front of me, sometimes I just have to like turn around and look at where I started from.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
like
That's some advice that I can use on my own. Right
yeah,
there.
I'm very happy with like where I'm at, and it does come with hardships because it's like it is isolating. Like I don't have someone when it gets really, really hard that fully understands
Right.
like what I'm saying yes or no to.
Or sometimes like you're like, okay, I want to do this, and maybe it takes you 5 hours to figure out, okay, how do I do all this? Where if there was somebody there that could be like, oh no, just do this, and
like
this.
I'll speak this into existence. I'll be specific. One of the things I'm struggling with right now and not really knowing how to properly do it is going on tour.
Okay.
I really want to go on tour, but I know that I cannot afford it
Gotcha.
on my own. Like there's so many different like there's venue fees, you have to pay a band. Like I'm realizing more and more that I'm in this industry. Like I see why people quit.
Oh yeah.
Because like the artist does
beats
not
you
make
down.
money.
Yeah.
You don't make money.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm doing a lot of like trying to do performances that do pay and like things where I can do tracks, and being a content creator is helping. I'm currently working on like doing subscription based stuff like specifically on Instagram.
Yeah.
I've been posting like my regular covers are like maybe 20 to 30 seconds, and I'm posting longer versions as exclusive content.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And then merch too. I mean, I would assume like if you're gonna go on tour, you gotta have merch.
Yeah,
like, there's gotta be a
merch
whole...
I'm excited about because I'm very crafty.
Yeah.
And I like thrifting.
Okay.
And my mom has a cry cut. So like I want to, it's basically like this thing where you can like custom cut things and then like iron it onto shirts and I can make stickers and logos and like I have so much fun with stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm already developing right now like a custom line of merch that will only be at my So Far shows.
Okay.
Like
sweet.
I'm not going to have it available online. It's only for people
like,
that come to my shows. And it's handmade by me.
Sweet.
So it's like...
Oh, it's like a Courtney Govan original.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all like,
cool.
I have suppliers and stuff that I've like worked with that are like print on demand. So like there's no upfront costs. Like there's a lot of ways that you can still like have merch and not have to do all these upfront payments.
Gotcha.
But you don't make a lot of money from it. So there's what I mean. Like there's the pros and the cons for it. So yeah, there's a lot. I completely forgot what we were talking about. We just touched on like 6 million different things.
But I get I get that of like, man, there's so much that goes into things that sometimes the average person doesn't realize.
Yeah.
Like
we haven't even talked about what it looks like to release a new song.
That's
like we're literally just talking about like the day-to-day existence.
Sure.
I feel like the takeaway from all that is just like there is a lot.
Oh yeah.
But that's also really cool.
Yeah.
You know, like
it makes it exciting.
It's not black and white. Yeah. It's not black and white. There's not like, okay, well if you don't succeed at this, you're done.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that didn't work for you, try something else.
Sure.
Like I have friends who like their whole career is based off having like a Patreon system. That doesn't really work for me. I've tried it a couple times, but like a lot of people that I know that work in like graphic design and illustrations, you know, and like like that kind of like subscriber based stuff works great for them and it also supports them.
Sure.
So it's like I don't have that yet, but I also don't think I have the time to upkeep that.
Gotcha. Okay. Speaking of releasing singles and stuff like that, when you do like when you finish writing a song, do you know like deep down like right away like, oh, this is gonna be a hit, or do you go, well, hopefully people like this? I don't know.
Well, I think it's like for me, my motto is every song I write should feel like a hit before I give it away. Okay. And a hit in my definition, not like because then it's like, well, am I doing this for me or am I doing it for others? Yeah. You know, and at its core, I think why my job works for me is because like I do it to like feed my own soul and my own heart. Sure. And then I hope and I give it away that it will nourish someone else. Gotcha. But like if I was just constantly like, okay, this needs to be a hit, well, for who? Sure. If I didn't have those guidelines, then it's like it's not going to feel cohesive. It's not going to feel like it came from an artist. It's going to feel like I'm trying to emulate what I think others want. Right. Or try and like ride the wave of like whatever's hot right now. Sure. So it's like, I think if anything, it's just like allowing to give myself space to write. And if I love something, if something's really like, Courtney, you need to cut this, like, it's not a matter of if I'm going to release it, it's when. Gotcha. So it like, I like to think it like enters a different part of my brain. So it's like I have the writing part of it and then I'm like, okay, I want to release this like tomorrow. And then the business side takes over and it's like, well, that's not going to happen. Right. You have at least 4 months, realistic. At least 4 to 5 months.
Oh, wow. So so you write a song, you record the song, you know, feel like, okay, I've cleaned it all up. It's ready for release and still like, it's going to be. Yep. Wow.
So I have a couple different. This is going to be the hardest part for me to explain because every song is different. Sure. Every song has different people working on it. Every song has different splits and different marketing things that I have available to me. Yeah. So for the last 3 releases I've done, I was working with a PR firm, which was incredible. They're called Trend PR. They're the kindest people I've ever met. But working with them 24/7, I can't afford it. You know, like if we're being very honest, like it gets expensive to promote your music as an independent artist at a professional level. Yeah, definitely. You know, like, so it depends on what resources I have available to me to tell me how long the release plan is going to be. Gotcha. So it's like the last 3 I did was like, I wrote them not at the same time. So I'll pick At Least because that was my most recent single. I wrote At Least with 2 of my friends, Jules Brave and Ryan Nealon, back in September of last year. And then I released it in February of this year.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was February.
So from writing to release is like
that to me was a quick turnaround.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was like, because you want to take your time,
Sure.
you know, especially not even with the marketing, with the making sure the song is the product that you're happy with. Is the mix correct? Is the production correct? Like, are all the notes correct? Are we happy with the vocal production? Are we happy with the lyrics? You know, like there's a
so
lot.
Much that goes
there's a
into
lot, and
a
then
song.
once the production's done, then you go into mixing. Then if you get a solid mix, I get maybe 7 to 8 different mixes that I listen to over the course of a month. And then once I pick a mix I'm happy with, then we go into mastering.
Gotcha.
Mastering is done relatively quickly, because mastering tends to only really deal with the volume across different platforms. And then based on your distributor that you use, because there is like over 100 different distributors you can use, mine requires at least 4 to 6 weeks uploaded before the song is going to be
Actually out. Okay.
And in order to upload, you also have to have the lyrics. You have to have all the cover art finished.
Yeah.
Because you have to upload all of it
all
together.
At one time.
All at one time.
Yeah.
So, and this is through DistroKid. That's who I use. Okay. So, basically, once that's done, then it says, okay, you have 4 to 6 weeks for your release. If it's before that, I always get this message. It goes, you're cutting it a bit close. And I'm like, stop. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
It's like 5 weeks.
Yeah, I got time.
And then it's kind of like you make a decision. Do I start promoting this song on social media right now when it's 5 weeks away?
Yes.
Or do I hope that the week of release, one of my videos blows up and it does great?
Right.
So it's kind of this like...
Catch-22.
Yeah, I've done them both, and I've had success with them both.
Yeah.
So it's
that even makes it harder, because it's like, man, if I did it both ways and every single time one went terrible and one went great, I go, I'm just gonna stick with the great one. But if they both work, it's like, dang it.
Yeah, and then the one time you decide, you know what, this way works better, it bombs.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So you're like,
of course.
There is no winning.
Yeah.
I think that there is just a lot of luck when it comes to that aspect.
Yeah.
And I just always do my best to be like excited and happy for those who it's happening to. And I don't apply that to my own music, because I don't write music to be a viral sensation.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, there's a lot.
If it goes viral, great.
If it goes viral,
amazing.
Yay.
But
yes.
That's not the goal.
It's
of,
not
like,
the
when
be all
you get
end all,
into
because
it.
that's not sustainable.
No.
And like, we've been seeing...
Well, I feel like it would just stress you out. If
it
you're
does.
Trying to like write from a viral
It fully does.
standpoint,
And it starts to make you hate your music.
Okay.
And when I realized that I was like kind of leaning into that direction, I was like, oh, wow. Courtney, you just let the entire internet, or lack thereof, like lack of views, hate all the work you just did for the last 6 months.
Yeah, that would be tough.
That's gross. That's
tough.
rude. I my brain and the work I put into things deserves more respect.
Definitely.
But I think it took me a minute to get there.
That's so interesting. That's one of the things I love doing about this podcast is like learning things like that, where I go like, I would have just assumed you write a song, you sing it, and then you send it to him, and then it's out the night. Like, this is a week-long process.
Yeah. I wish. That sounds great.
All right.
But no. I mean, some people do it that way, but like,
yeah,
I don't have the means, or nor do I want to do it that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. This is now the point of the podcast here where I'm going to get into some more maybe, job related questions, or more specific to you that wouldn't really fit for anybody else.
Okay.
So for everybody out there that maybe hasn't seen or doesn't know what it is, Courtney was on a show called I Can See Your Voice.
Yep.
It's like, I wouldn't say like singing competition show necessarily.
Not even. It's a game show.
Okay. Game show, a singing game show, where she was the singer, and basically the contestant, I'll give you the quick rundown, is the contestant goes on and they have people singing or not singing, and the contestant has to try and decide, like, are they a real singer or are they lip syncing, and they're really actually terrible. So on that show, spoiler alert, if you want to go watch, maybe jump ahead a minute of this podcast and go watch the show, because I'm about to spoil what happens. But
season 1 episode 2.
Season 1 episode 2.
It's on Hulu.
There you go. On the show, the contestant chooses you as somebody who she thinks isn't the singer.
Yes.
When that happens, in that moment, is that like a satisfying feeling for you that you tricked the person, or you got one over on them? Or is it more of a like, maybe not disappointing is the right word, but like a disappointing feeling of like, oh, she didn't think I was the singer.
You know, it's funny. No one has ever asked me that before, and I don't think I've ever thought about it like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I was more so sad, but not like because I was like, oh, she doesn't think I'm a singer. I was like, because I wanted her to win the money.
Sure.
Basically every bad singer or every good singer you eliminated, the farther away from winning $100,000 you were.
Okay.
So I kind of was like, aw, sorry, girly pop.
Yeah.
Like, I was one of them. So, because I think in my episode, there was 4 bad singers and 2 good.
Yeah.
So it was like, she just dropped her odds dramatically.
Yeah,
so I mean, I was excited because there's kind of like that. I think of it like the Disney Channel reveal that the girl can sing. Like, I was like living my fantasy a little bit where it was like, let me go up there and look a little nervous and like whatever. And then I was like,
gotcha.
So it was fun.
Okay. So a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. But I don't think I ever thought like, oh, like they didn't think I could sing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people in this world that don't think I can sing. So it's like, meh.
There's a lot of people that can't sing.
Exactly.
So it's like, if I got to take my guess, I'm going with can't sing. Yeah. Can't sing. So, okay. Interesting. And then I mean, you guys can go look at my TikTok. I have never had anything go viral, not even semi-viral, nothing even like it. Yeah. So I have no idea what that feeling is from a like logistical standpoint. So I understand the feeling might be, you know, oh man, my thing's going viral. This is exciting. I understand that. But from like a logistical, like, what actually happens when a song like Serotonin goes viral?
Yeah.
Like, is it, you know, like you get an email that says, hey, you're going viral? Or like, I don't, what happens?
That I'm trying to like put myself back in my shoes when that happened.
Yeah. Where you just like open your phone one day and it's
I mean, that honestly
30,000 messages
to this day, at any time a video does super well, like it's always like a little surprise in the morning.
Do you have your notifications on or off?
I have them off.
Okay.
I don't look at
I was gonna say,
hell no. Sorry.
You get like, you know, 50 just sitting, you're like, what the heck is going on?
Well, no, like I don't have any of my notifications turned on except for phone and text.
Gotcha.
And then I think I have like Co-Star Astrology sends me a little cute message every morning. But yeah, it's a rush. I'm not gonna lie.
I would imagine.
It's kind of like one of those things that I had to remind myself to stop chasing. Because once it happens, you just kind of keep wanting it more and more and more. The serotonin levels skyrocket. But no, like realistically, it's always a little humbling. Like, it's very cool. I was not with Serotonin. This was way bigger than I think I ever realized it was. Yeah. Because basically for those of you who don't know the story or are seeing me for the first time right now, basically I wrote a song called Serotonin, and it's funny because I wrote the song like off of like little like challenges that producers were posting. Like they're like, sing with me, and I'm like, well, Charlie Puth posted one, and then I got the chorus, and like it was truly like a TikTok duet
amalgamation.
Like it's like if TikTok didn't exist, I don't know if I would have written this song.
Gotcha.
Like, it's very interesting for me. And then I had only released one project prior, and it was my first time like ever really releasing like a bigger music project. And when I wrote Serotonin, I was like, I don't want to wait. I'm so over this whole like promoting for 4 months. I'm just going to release it and break all the rules.
We're putting it out.
Yeah. So I found someone, his name's Pascal Paul, loved him. He has produced a lot of some of my other stuff for me. Cool. He's incredible to work with. He lives in Germany. We did everything over Zoom. And we got the song finished in like 4 days, which what I just told you, unheard of.
Yes.
Recorded all the vocals in my bedroom.
Okay.
I vocal produced myself, which I had never done before.
Sure.
We got the song together. I did a little photo shoot.
Nice.
In my bathroom.
Nice.
Put everything up and put it to release 2 days later.
Wow.
As literally DistroKid was like, you're insane. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I found this like I had a friend at the time that was helping me like try and promote my stuff, and she got a little radio station in Long Beach to premiere serotonin.
Oh, that's cool.
So like
Okay.
even if the song wasn't gonna go viral or whatever, like I was gonna commemorate
It was getting
this.
heard somewhere.
But I was like gonna commemorate it with my radio debut.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know, so
Sure,
like
sure,
there
sure.
was a milestone that I'm hitting no matter what.
Regardless, yeah.
So I sat in front of my computer and I was recording for like an hour, listening to this radio station, trying to hear it. And so I'm sitting there.
When's it gonna play? Yeah.
And all of a sudden, not only do they play it, but they intro me.
Oh,
and
that's
it was
pretty
the coolest moment of my life. Like,
Yeah.
I think back to that, like, I just got chills. Like,
Yeah.
it was just such a, like, euphoric feeling. And I recorded it, I posted it, I woke up the next morning, and it had, like, 2.8 million views. And I was like, excuse me?
So is that just something you find out through opening the app?
Yeah, like
wow.
so TikTok caps at 100 notifications. So it'll tell you like 99 plus in the bottom.
But that could be 100 or it could be 2.8 million.
Yeah, so I've had moments where it's like you wait a second and then you open your phone and then it will show you like 15,000 comments.
Oh, jeez.
That can be scary.
Yep.
That was like, oh my God, there's 15,000 opinions waiting for me to read.
Yep.
And I was like, what the heck? But I
would have
didn't.
thrown my phone.
Yeah, there are moments where I'm like, I like turn it off, right?
I can't see this.
But it's like the first thing I did was go to my Spotify because I was like, oh my God, this song just came out yesterday. I wonder if these people are streaming it. Yeah, it was, which again was not what's the word? It was not like the goal for that. I mean, of course I want people to stream my music, but I didn't post that video thinking that was going to give the song life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so then I went and I looked and it was like over 10,000 streams in the first 12 hours of existence. And I was like, this is the biggest thing.
Something's happening.
Yeah. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened to me ever. Yeah. And then it kind of just, it taught me to like be ready for stuff. Like you don't get an email, but I was like, oh my God, because I had a landing page, people could easily find that the song was out. Yeah. Like, and that just like further instilled in me that it's like, if I'm promoting something, I need to spoon feed it. Yeah. Like if I want people to know I have music, I need to literally be standing there saying like, here's the airplane. Yep. Like here, like this is where I would like you to go.
To go to find it.
And that like, I mean, it's sitting now at like 1.8 million streams. And I'm like, I'm the most grateful for TikTok because of that, because it just gave me a lot of like, I can do this energy and I haven't stopped.
Gotcha.
So
that's cool. Yeah, that's something that I'm like, fingers crossed, maybe. But again, like we kind of talked about, I don't do this to go viral. Like if something does go viral, awesome, great, exciting. Like hopefully that turns into something. But it's not the goal. The goal is to do something that I enjoy and actually have fun with. Yeah,
it's like the main thing I would say to you about that is that like as long as you feel like, and this is what I say to myself and all of my friends too, it's like if you feel like every time you post this video encapsulates why I do what I do, then you're doing it correctly. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, like exactly. All of your posts should be like just as like, oh, I loved that one. That one not so much. You should love them all. Love every single thing you post, because every time you post, it's like a little lottery ticket. Yeah, you never know. And if you don't post, you're not entering the lottery, so you can guarantee you're not going to win. Yeah, you know.
Okay, man, that's something that I gotta sit with a little bit more, because I'm not the best poster. I mean,
hey, we all have our things. You know, I'm not the best with like giving people longer covers. Whenever they're like, "Oh, we want this," I'm like,
who are you talking to?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like, but we all have our things, you know, and with Instagram, you can schedule content now, and that's really helped. Okay. Because sometimes I'll forget that I posted. Right. And then I open my phone and I'm like, oh yeah, hey, yay, you know?
It's like a nice little surprise. All right.
We all have our things.
And then now the last question that I have in this segment or section here is your newest single, At Least. Go stream At Least. Courtney Govan, At Least. Spotify, anywhere.
Written
you
by
can find your music.
Jules Brave, Ryan Nealon, produced by Pascal Paul.
Perfect. In that song, I mean, we don't have to necessarily get into all the details of the song because I want people to go check it out. Yeah. But it is about someone in particular. Yes. I don't know who the person is. You don't have to share who the person is.
I won't be.
But it is clearly about one specific person.
Yes.
Has that person heard the song? Do you know? Do you
Can
not know?
Can I tell you? I just don't care.
That also? Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was curious about.
Yeah, I didn't write it for them.
Sure.
You know, I wrote it for me and to give myself some closure from a situation that I like didn't get any from. Yeah. And I know I've had some people reach out to me and like want to talk more about it, like in my personal life.
Sure.
And
just not interested. Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, that person's not in my life anymore and I'm not in theirs.
Sure.
So it's like,
It is what it is.
Yeah, what I do is not for them,
I was
nor
just
will
more
it
curious,
ever be,
like,
you know?
if they heard it and then hit you and they're like, what the hell, Mama? You know, and they're all mad about it or whatever. Okay.
No, I honestly, like,
because there are songs.
With peace and love,
yeah,
I don't care.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are songs that, like, you know, artists write and it's clearly about somebody.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, like, man, when they're writing that, are they like nervous if the person's gonna hear it? Do they not care? Are they doing it for them?
I think it stems back to what I said was like, I don't write music for other people.
Right.
I write it to help me.
Yeah.
But it's like I write in the hopes that something I've gone through can help other people heal through their stuff too. Okay. To say the quiet parts out loud.
Yeah. Okay. That's
I always try to do it with as much class as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But it's like at the end of the day, I have to honor myself and my feelings as well.
Totally. That's a great way of putting it. And then the last section here of the podcast, the last bit of the podcast that I always like to do is I like to leave it for my guests. So if there's something that, you know, you want to promote, you want to bring attention to, you want the viewer to know, here's your time.
Oh my goodness, the pressure.
I mean, first, before, you know, maybe tell us where we can find you, all your socials, all your handles, everything like that.
I made it very easy. All of my socials, anywhere. I exist on the internet as Courtney Govan. Okay. Everywhere.
Govan.
Govan. Honestly, I'm not really like releasing anything right now, but I am. I don't even know how to say this.
Go Stream At Least.
Yeah, give me a hot second.
We know that one.
I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this.
Go Stream At Least. Follow, share. Okay. I mean, all those things
help. The best way that you guys can support me if you want to after this is to follow me on whatever music platform that you stream music from. I'm constantly writing. I'm in my writing era right now, so I don't know what I want to say next. Okay. I don't know what's going to be next. Sure. I'm working on a couple things, but I'm performing a lot. That's like kind of been my main goal for myself is learning how to take up space in person, not just on the internet. Gotcha. Because I get very anxious. Understandable. But I think the main thing I want them to know is that, like, just be a good person. Yeah. That's kind of why I write, and I give a lot of myself to the internet, is just to remind people that, like, we're all different. We all have struggles we're going through, and we all deserve kindness. And also realize, like, if you're not being the kindest, like, are you being kind to yourself? Like, do you have stuff you need to work on? True. So I talk about that in my music, and I also just want people to be freaking decent human beings. So that's ideal. On that note, go find some serotonin.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome and very informative for me, and hopefully the viewer as well. And like we said, go stream music, go follow, support your local artists. It's the right thing to do. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, thanks for checking out another episode of the Jobology podcast, and thank you, Courtney, for sharing your story with us. Before I let you go, a couple quick reminders. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow at Jobology Podcast on all major social media platforms, and check us out on TikTok. And like we say to end every episode, make good choices.